You've been working in India for the past, what, 6 years now, yeah. 2009. So how did that happen? Like from UK, you...
Long story short version. I'm really bad at that. Originally I did a sequence for Hindi Ghajini. That was the opening title sequence where it flies through the brain at the beginning. So I did that in the UK. My old business partner, Kamal Khan, just plucked me out of the blue. Just somehow managed to find me. I don't know how. I think it was because I had a medical animation on my show reel at the time, and I was a freelancer. And he was working on that particular show, so he got in touch with me and asked me to do this one particular sequence. So I busted my chops for about a couple of weeks or so and sent it across. Collapsed and got up the following day and saw the mail. It was like, yeah, it's not what we wanted. Like, what? Oh no. Okay. So I spoke to him for some time. It's like it wasn't the kind of thing. So I was like, okay, fine. Redo it. So I redid the thing, and that's the one that was used. So originally it was like one large environment. We were just swimming around it, a few neurons exploding, that kind of thing. It was all just within this brain environment, and he was right. He was right. It was laboured. It wasn't fast-paced enough. So no, it was totally right on that. So we broke it down into individual sequences. So one flying through the neurons, then flying through the wires, and then flying through the cells, and all the way out to the brain itself at the end. So at the end of that, after I delivered that thing, I just casually had a discussion over Skype, and he said, "Oh, we've got this. I'm working on this one film at the moment, which is, turns out it was Magadheera." He said, "Well, I've got this one stadium episode, which is coming up. All right, historical piece, okay. I'm a little bit concerned about one studio. It's a big job for them to do. They're currently doing it using this particular process. This is the workflow that they do it, and that's not right. So what you need to do is you do this," and literally just give him like 2 pages of stuff to say, right, just pass to them, it'll come fine, don't worry about it. Day later, I get a mail back or a message back on Skype saying, "Yeah, can you come across?" I'm like, yeah. No, serious. Huh? Okay. So I arranged to travel across on, I think it was Valentine's Day 2009, single at the time, and thought, get away from all this love heart rubbish in the UK and get to Hyderabad airport, and it's just like love hearts all over the place. Like, okay, fine. Straight to RFC, had a nervous breakdown because I was completely on the other side of the planet, like complete fish out of water, really didn't like it when I first arrived. Just felt totally isolated from family, not because of the country or anything, but because I was just totally isolated. I'm on the other side of the world, my God, what the heck am I doing? Seriously, what the heck am I doing? But got into the work, met the director, struck a good rapport with him, met with Kamal, struck a very good rapport with him as well, so much so that we formed the studio, myself, Adil, who built the stadium within Magadheera, and the three of us struck a rapport. So Kamal suggested that we form the studio, sometime later, and it was great. So finally, I delivered the section that I needed to work on, which was supervising the rendering and the lighting setup for the stadium in the city. So QC'd a bunch of stuff down at Makuta Effects and with 1 or 2 other studios as well, working with Kamal. So much to the point we were setting up a render farm in the hotel room at Green Park in Chennai. We had like 9-10 machines just blasting out. I'm sure their electricity bill must have gone up. So did that, and then came back to the UK. I thought, that's it, I'm done. I'm not coming back or anything like that. And 2 months later, I got a call to come back. So it was like on a Friday. I do remember it vividly. Me and one guy who works for us now, Badger, we'd had a couple of drinks on a Thursday night and hung over a Friday, sat at, I think, KFC or something in Middlesbrough in England, and Kamal phoned up. "Oh, hello, how are you doing?" And he's, we're having a chin wags, like, so yeah, can you come back? Like, yeah, right. He's like, no, seriously. I'm like, well, check my calendar, nothing on at the moment. Okay, fine, so when do you need me back? He went, Monday. How on earth am I supposed to get back in 2 days? No, mate, no, I've got to change the visa, I've got to do this, not gonna, oh, you still got the work visa from last time, you can still come back on that, re-register when you get here, and all this kind of thing. No, Monday's not possible. Sorry, I've got to say goodbye to family and stuff. You know how much problems I had last time, and so on and so on. I was back by Wednesday. So I literally jumped on a plane on the Tuesday. So the Monday wasn't possible, but the Wednesday was.
But
yeah.
What brought you back? Like,
It was the same. It was the same job. It was second stab at Magadheera, and the director had added some additional bits and bobs. Some shots that was originally not going to have any VFX, he decided to add some additional stuff in. There were some crowd elements that needed to go in. There was some birds, pigeons flocking and flying away and all this kind of other stuff. There was some cape shots in the Deera song. The vortex when Ram Charan throws this thing down and goes up like that thing. And some digital cloth that needed to go in. So there was around about 4 or 5 weeks or something like that I was here. I did not see the light of day apart from popping out for a coffee. That was basically it. So I spent every single day working at Prasad Labs in what we lovingly called the Room of Death, which was literally a kind of confined space about yay big with 9 of us in there. It was like originally there was just me, then there was another guy, and then gradually there was around about 8 or 9 of us in there, all kind of like this, trying to blast these shots out. And again, managed it in the end. But unfortunately, I had to leave the country before the film got released because my visa had finished and everything, and I had to return back. So I didn't see the film until a year later, when myself and Adil saw it in Prasad's screening room. So that was kind of interesting. That was okay. We're sitting forward, saying, "Oh, this is our stuff now." Okay, and grades off. Oh, yeah, that's okay. That came okay. Yeah. So that was kind of like how it was. And then to say after the Magadheera job, we decided to form the studio. So totally Kamal's idea. We decided, okay, fine, let's give it a go. Originally, we were going to come in as just going to various different studios as consultants. That was the plan. We never were going to, set up a large studio kind of thing. That was never the initial idea. After first meeting there and meeting with our supportive investors, we decided, okay, let's go for this. Let's hire talent. We'll retain the key talent that we want to be able to develop a studio that excels in quality. That's the one main thing that we always try in the street for. The name is bigger than any one of us. We don't want to work on stuff that is going to lower our profile, and we've managed to do that so far. We've managed to constantly raise our game through the support of those guys. It's been brilliant. Developing and assisting the talent that we have, seeing where each artist's pearls and pitfalls are, and guiding them to push into various different areas to try and challenge them and to try and up their game, and constantly try and get them to think outside the box a lot, and to try and target key talent outside the company to bring them into the fold, to assist themselves and to help them develop, and to help the other guys develop as well. So that's what we try and do. We try and retain everybody as best we can. We always look for people who have that enthusiasm to develop, to expand.
The company has grown a lot in the past 5 years, from what I've understood, right, from Magadheera days to where it is right now. So, and you must have interacted with a lot with these newcomers or people who are already working in a lot of visual effects studios. So, what is the sense that you get when you interact with these people in the industry? Like, are they up there to do the graphics, visual effects to the level which you expect, or are they still in the stepping stone?
You get some who are, very, very good, They excel. I mean, some of the guys we have, you know, I definitely couldn't do what they do without any shadow of a doubt. I'm basically a generalist. I don't specialise in one specific area. Maybe lighting and effects, kind of, but there's some guys in these areas which are just, you know, way step above me. There are, you know, individuals in other studios which I know here are brilliant. I'd take them in a heartbeat if they just leave. But the main issue that we find trying to source new talent here is the fact that trying to cherry pick and find those key individuals is hard. It really is hard, and it's down to, you know, dare I say it, the way that they are taught. That's the key problem. There's some institutions here which do a very good job. Some lecturers do a very good job, but there are some which don't. And I don't mind saying it, and a lot of them I've discussed with them personally, and some of them know my feelings directly of this, and my feelings of this are, they have to have that creative bone to start with. You know, if you're not interested in the art, if you don't treat this as an art, if you just treat it like another job, do something else, man, seriously. You don't want to be, you know, busting your chops on shots at, like, you know, God knows late at night because the director's decided for an nth iteration and the deadline's tomorrow and you need to get this thing done. If you don't enjoy it, if you don't love what you do, you know, you're busting your backside for that, you know, 3 seconds, 4 second shot that you've maybe worked on it for 6 months or something like that, and it's on screen and now it's gone. You know, can we just put this on a loop for an hour? You know, and it's like that. You're like, all that time, all that effort for those 4 seconds, and it's totally gone now. My God! Now, if you don't, as an artist, love those 4 seconds, if you don't really, you know, feel it here, and you're just like, then I say do something else. You know, get into computing, do programming, do iPad development, something, whatever it may be, whatever excites you, do that. If this excites you, do it. You know, and that's the key problem. A lot of people who go into VFX here, and it's also other places worldwide as well. It's not just here. Is the fact that they see it as a job. It's not a job. It's a hobby that pays. It's an art form. Filmmaking is an art form. You know, you've got to treat it like that. Otherwise, you will go crazy. Simple as that. We all are. We're all a bit nuts. So you've really got to love this stuff. If you don't, then you're going to go nuts, and you're not going to develop. As any artist will tell you, and I mean true artist. You know, guys who, you know, work here, I class every single one of them as an artist, no matter whether or not they're in technical development or whether or not they're in matte painting, lighting or compositing. They're all artists because they treat it like an art form. You know, they strive not only to give the best that they can, but also to push themselves above and beyond and to develop themselves further. And that's the key thing, being able to understand and develop and learn new techniques. I mean, like I say, you don't look at a bowl of fruit and go, yeah, I kind of got it, and then go for it. Or Leonardo da Vinci didn't kind of work out, okay, this is the palette, this is the brush, this is the paint, that's the canvas, okay, Mona Lisa. You practiced. Yeah. And it's the same deal with VFX. It's an art form. So therefore you have to treat it the same. You know, you can't develop as an artist either you know, technically, creatively, or through the ranks, if that's your objective, moving your way through the ranks and salary and so on. You gotta get good, and by being creative and enjoying yourself in the process is the way to succeed. It's the way to develop. It's the way to move ahead and move forward in these things.
You grew up in the UK and now you're working in Indian cinema.
Yeah.
So do you feel the necessity to understand the kind of films being made here, or when it comes to your work it doesn't make a difference because you're...
Yeah, even some of the films that I've worked on here, we go and see them and I'm like, huh? I don't get it. That's a little bit OTT, but I do understand it now. I mean, initially I was what? Why is he saying that and doing that and that dialogue and this kind of thing? And why is he slapping him? Why is he slapped him right in the face? He's your friend. Why are you slapping him? You know, if you do that in England, some other guy's going to slap you back like really flipping hard. So nowadays it's like, oh right, it's camaraderie, it's banter, it's that kind of thing. So I kind of get it. I kind of get it now. But initially I was, whoa.
You're just talking about that you really didn't understand the films in the beginning and now you've gotten used to that. But when it comes to your work, how does it work? Because you're breaking down everything into images and programming and all.
The process itself is pretty standard for over here compared to, it's pretty much the same over here as what we would do for someone over in the West nowadays. It's pretty much come into its own now in the last, I think, maybe 3 years or so. Prior to that, there was not many people or not many directors or producers who would understand the effects process. But I mean, even now, still, there are some old school, directors and producers and guys who've been around for quite a while, who are familiar with, who are been in the game for quite some time, who are used to. I won't call it the old way of working. I'd call it the tried and tested, formulaic way of doing it. Shoot the thing, cut for about a couple of months, get the thing out, assembly line sort of stuff. Unfortunately, post-production nowadays doesn't work like that. For the quality and for the aesthetics to be there, time is required. So therefore, the post-production facility needs to have adequate time to do the art. So time and quality needs to be there. So therefore, a lot of people don't tend to see that. So when we meet a new director or meet a new producer, we always advise, schedule the key technically problematic scenes as early as physically possible. So therefore, one studio has as much time as physically possible after the end of the shoot. Before the release, so we can actually work on it for as long as we can, based on time, quality, and also the money that's available. So what we always try and do is sit and advise, storyboard, block down, and so there's no wastage. There's no wastage within the shoot, there's no wastage in post either. And it also helps everybody visualize what they're going to get at the end. We'll send storyboards, animatics, advise on set, we'll suggest for framing, supervisors on set will obviously comment and advise with the client, with the director on set itself, and also guide them through the creative process. That's how it's done over here. That's how it's done in overseas as well. It's part of the method, and gradually everybody's starting to filter into that way of thinking, which is good, because it saves time, it saves money. It allows the artist to work on the element, whatever it may be, for as long as physically possible, within the schedule, within the budget, to the client's satisfaction. So there are, elements to it which we are familiar with. As for the whole story, he's keeping it pretty close. He's keeping it pretty close. I know what's happening in the climax. I'm not telling you. There's not enough money or death wish on the planet I could hope for. And do I know why Katapa killed Baahubali? Yeah.
No?
Of course I know.
Good luck with that.
I'm not telling you.